You're listening to a podcast by the Perennial Leader Project. Welcome back to Dying Every Day, Stoicism in a Year. Today is day 32, and we're exploring the discipline of desire. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus advised his students, remember that desire promises the attaining of what you desire, and aversion the avoiding of what you want to avoid. And that he who falls into desire is unfortunate. In contrast, he who falls into what he wants to avoid suffers misfortune. If you seek to avoid, then only what is contrary to nature among those things that are within your own power, you'll never fall into anything that you want to avoid. But if you attempt to avoid illness or death or poverty, you'll suffer misfortune. For the present, suppress your desires entirely. For if you desire any of the things that are not within your power, you're bound to be unfortunate. While those that are within our power, which it would be right for you to desire, aren't yet within your reach. And this passage is adapted from the Enchiridion, or Handbook. You might remember me stressing the notion that these ideas from the Stoics work in harmony with one another. To illustrate this, let's go all the way back to day 1, where we discussed what Epictetus called the chief task in life, which is to identify and separate matters so that we can clearly tell ourselves which are externals not under our control and which have to do with the choices we actually control. Sometimes it's said as what is up to us and not up to us. And what some of you may have already noticed is that it's not that simple. We might be able to identify that something is not up to us, like the behavior of a colleague, a spouse, politician, or loved one, yet we still have a desire or aversion. A great book on the topic is On Desire by the American philosopher William B. Irvine. He's a previous guest on Perennial Wisdom, and Irvine explains, quote, people commonly think that the best way to attain happiness is to change their environment, their house, their clothes, their car, their job, their spouse, their lover, their circle of friends. But those who have thought carefully about desire have unanimously drawn the conclusion that the best way, indeed perhaps the only way, to attain lasting happiness is not to change the world around us or our place in it, but to change ourselves. Unquote. This might sound simple, or maybe it seems counterintuitive, but it's important to remember that Stoic principles and practices are lifelong endeavors. If you have trouble applying these principles in daily life, you're in good company. So did the Stoics. The key is to keep showing up again and again. Mistakes and challenges are simply part of the path. Consider reflecting or journaling on some of your most challenging desires or aversions. How can you remember to practice the discipline of desire in daily life? Thank you for listening to Dying Every Day, Stoicism in a Year. I hope you found something useful for daily life. If you enjoy what we're doing here and want to support the project, consider becoming a Perennial Meditations member. And finally, as always, I urge you to put what you heard into practice. Until next time, be wise and be well.